Leslie, how did you develop your interest in the history of technology, and in particular, the interest of Silicon Valley? You're not from California originally, are you? Aren't
No,
you from Detroit?
I grew up in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
Tulsa,
wow.
Oklahoma. And I think that from the time I was probably in 7th grade, I read a biography of Marie Curie, a little kid's biography. I was very interested in the role of science and technology. Obviously, in that case, it was in France. But and the more I learned about it, the more I really came to feel that so much of the history of the United States is really about technology. It comes into play in so many different ways. And it seemed to me an important way to think about change in the United States. So I came to Stanford to do my PhD. The other place I'd considered was MIT, and I was a little afraid, well, what if it turns out I actually decide not to do a PhD in the history of technology, but just straight history, which is really the only reason I came to Stanford over
Well, tell us what you majored
MIT.
in.
My undergraduate degree?
Whatever.
Okay, so I was an undergraduate at Yale, and I was an American history major, American studies, really. And then my PhD is in history from Stanford. Actually, my advisor is David M. Kennedy, who's a 20th century US historian, not a historian of technology. But my dissertation, well, Henry helped a lot with it, and then I had a couple of other advisors from within the history department and the business school. And I really became interested in the history of the Valley somewhat for practical purposes. I mean, obviously, for anyone interested in the history of technology who's going to school in Palo Alto, it's an obvious choice. It was also I had a very practical reason as well, which is that I gave birth to my son 2 weeks after I took my comprehensive oral exams, and I wanted very local archives. And so it was just a beautiful meshing of something that was so interesting and valuable to study with the practical reality of not being interested in traveling to archives all over the country.
Thanks. Henry?